Hello everybody and welcome to Pre-Moon Poop 2 with me and Big D. Hello, me, and hello,
Heyo.
Big D.
Hey dude, how you doing?
You said hello too early. You said hello for me. You're not me. I'm me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're Big D. You see, you little sausage. You little rascal.
It's the heat is cooking my brain.
Oh, now I can tell you as well, because I think it's the right time now. Bone Crusher and Scavenger are now out at Smith's.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're now available to get. I tell you what confused me. It's because they've been up for pre-order on the Smith's website for months. It feels like months. Yeah. So I think in my brain, my assumption was they had just been out for ages, and that clearly wasn't the case. We've not had our figures, and America's been sitting on that wave for a while now. So I guess my brain assumed that we must have had them as well by now, right? Yeah, no.
I mean, I've been getting confused because I had a fair bit of kind of like the current stuff on pre-order with Pulse. But I suddenly have had a whole bunch of stuff cancelled on me by Pulse.
Oh, really?
They haven't tried to bill me because I've had stuff say stuff's coming up for payment, but nothing to say they've tried and failed. Retry payment.
Well, what stuff has been cancelled then? What they cancelled on you?
Let's see. Was it not my Cronus Prime? Alchemist Prime. Red Alert. Sharky Dude.
Skybite,
yep. And I mean, to be fair, that's the main ones.
Okay, so kind of the
and the Studio Series Perceptor bundle because I wanted Rat Pattern. Well, I wanted Ramhorn more than anything. But,
these are all stuff that are meant to be coming out in August, I think, right? That's according to Amazon, and Amazon's not very quick at getting stuff at the moment.
It's stuff that has. But Pulse, ID, and Star have all had in the last month.
Oh well, yeah, they get theirs imported. So
yeah, well, no, it's the actual release stock because Pulse have had it first, and then it's gone to the other guys.
I wonder why then Amazon gets this so late in comparison.
I think probably because my suspicion is because. Hasbro are, as much as it pains me to say, I think they do try to service the fan sites and the smaller retailers, knowing that Amazon will pick up whatever's left over. And even then, I mean, I swear that I've had stuff I've bought off Amazon just come from Smith's or the Entertainer.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because it doesn't specify otherwise, and I recognise the price point as being exactly that one, and some of the descriptive text can sometimes match what they use on their websites, right? And which is different to what you find on the main one.
Yeah.
Hasbro. So it's interesting, that one, to be fair. But hey, it's actually not a bad thing because it means I can have a bit of a route around and maybe try and pick up some stuff. I know there's some stuff from In Demand and Star. They've got stuff they found in their warehouses they put up at decent prices. I might try and add a few more Black Series stuff than anything else, but some of the recent TFs I'm missing, I might just add those in to bump the get the free shipping.
I mean, why not? Yeah, because it's only 50. You don't need to add too much to get it up to 50 quid usually.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be doing the second half of the movie stuff, so I guess we may as well get the ball rolling. We'll play some music and start off with the Transformers. Okay, music time. Let's go.
Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast with me, Andy, Decayed Andy. We're here with Big D. Hello, Big D.
Heyo.
And since Big D is here, that can only mean one thing, that there was no news this week. There was the stream, but it had only two things that had not been talked about and not been shown, which was the prototype for Arachnid from Transformers 1 and the prototype for Alpha Trion, which was a deluxe as well.
Yeah, I have to say, I did like from showing off for prototypes because it kind of gives a bit of an extra sizzle to those shows, if you know what I mean.
What do you mean an extra sizzle? They have no sizzle because all of their stuff is released beforehand. Everything's released beforehand.
When so much stuff's been leaked or revealed by other companies or whatever, for them to use this show to those streams, rather than using VO Space, which will just put a picture of the character from whichever property it's coming from, to actually dig out to pull out a few of the prototypes, so we can actually see how it should and what they're going for. That's kind of cool, I think. I dig that.
I think it's okay. I think it's at least something. And having only two figures in between two streams is not great. It is better than just showing still images, though. I'll grant you, but it's just like, fuck me, so much wasted time. Again, this doesn't happen with the rest of Hasbro's streams. Like, this doesn't happen with the Marvel stuff. I don't know why the Transformers have all of their stuff leaked, but they need to do something about it. They have to do something about it because their streams are worthless. There's no point watching them.
Yeah, it's actually a good point you make there. That you don't get it for the G.I. Joe stuff or the Marvel stuff. Or really any other Hasbro lines. It's just Transformers, which is really weird.
I could see maybe why the G.I. Joe stuff doesn't get it, because I would imagine the fan base for the G.I. Joe stuff is smaller than Transformers. I would imagine, just based on, the movies and whatnot. Star Wars, I mean, there's nothing show off at the moment because Jesus. And with the one that surprised me the most is the Marvel stuff, because usually, you get a new Marvel character, people are pretty like the new Juggernaut. People were pretty happy about new Juggernaut. People were pretty happy with new Psylocke figure. Those are things I would have expected to have leaked, or Shumagorath kind of thing. But no, only Transformers. It's odd. At least I think it's odd. I don't know why.
No, you're right. When you think about it, it is very odd. Weird.
I don't know. Well, we're here to complete our part 2 of talking about the 07 movie stuff, at least like the main line stuff, because obviously there's fast action battlers and legends and other tatty stuff, which we're not going to cover. We will cover Real Gear if we have enough time at the end, and hopefully we will, because Real Gear is pretty cool. Maybe, maybe I'll throw it out here now. Maybe the best part of the 07 movies for toy line.
You know what? I never touched Real Gear, but
really,
I've heard from it just wasn't really my bag back then.
You should,
But in retrospect, I probably should have done.
Yeah,
grabbed a bit or two of it. But everything I've heard from people who were into it is like, these were actually really good fun. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can get onto it, and there are some that aren't great, but like I said, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll start off with Wreckage. Good old Wreckage. Good old I have a ginormous backpack deluxe Wreckage. But this was probably one of my favorite figures from the line, from the actual movie line. I liked his design. He wasn't too Michael Bay-y. He wasn't a drone character, so he wasn't hampered by some of that. He did have gigantic feet, which were a bonus and a curse. Like I said, his biggest irritation was he had a real big lump of back kibble, and I don't think that was desperately good.
Well, it was kind of two things with Wreckage, because I actually like this mold as well. It was one of the first movie figures I bought, actually.
Oh, okay.
I saw on the shelf, because I dug the looks. It was like you say, it didn't have as much bay to it. It felt a bit more like a halfway house between that and the G1 aesthetic.
You could probably put this guy in Transformers Prime and it wouldn't look too out of miss,
absolutely.
I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I think they used this character. I know Dropshot showed up in All Hail Megatron. I think Wreckage might have shown up in something as well.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, background character stuff. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But no, the biggest issue was that I didn't mind the back kibble too much. The issue was that he had that weird cannon arrangement in his gut.
Yeah.
And his head was on a weird tilt.
Yes, he was a little bit navel gazing. Not as badly as like when we talked about classics. Generations Ironhide. That was way worse than this. But I agree, it did suffer the same kind of problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was the head didn't have enough clearance to tilt backwards enough to counteract it.
Yeah,
if it had fat, then it probably would have helped a lot. But it is what it is. As is, great fun. The only other quibble I had of him is that he comes with these two awesome blade weapons. And he has to hold them on horizontal.
yeah, that was weird.
You can't have them in that classic like animated prowl vibe of them sticking out of his wrists. And you can't have him holding them like proper swords or anything, or like tonfas or whatever. Instead, he's holding them sideways on, and with the blades on the flat against his arms, which is not a good look for a bladed weapon.
Was it meant to be kind of ninja styled? Is that what it was? I don't really know.
That might have been the intent, but the execution really didn't pull it off.
Yeah, because a sword generally works with like downwards momentum rather than like it can swipe left and right, but it's primarily a big sword is better when you're like tilting it downwards and using that momentum to smash through something like a hammer kind of deal. You want
the blade kind of like on the vertical alongside the armor as opposed to flat. Because, it's an aesthetic more than anything.
Yeah,
because it just feels weird.
Oh
shit! Because it's fun otherwise.
I'm gonna make you answer a controversial question. What do you think is a better sword, the two-handed bastard sword or a katana? Because I would say it's a pretty easy choice.
Well, I own a hand and a half longsword.
Yeah,
that's one of the finest weapons I've ever held in my hands.
I'd say it's easily the longsword. The longsword could smash a katana. A katana is kind of a finesse thing, but man, a two it's got a blade on each side as well, which is pretty useful.
Yeah. The thing is, the katana's got the mystique about it.
It does look cooler.
Yes, and in fairness, the engineer of a katana is actually really interesting because they have a softer steel along the back of the blade, which is what you're supposed to kind of use to absorb blows.
Yep.
Whilst the front of the blade is razor sharp, but it's also very brittle because one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that the reason Japanese smiths had to hammer the steel into so many layers is because their iron was shit. Literally,
didn't know
that's
that.
Why.
That's fun.
Historically, that's been one of the big problems Japan has had, is that in terms of natural resources, their metals are terrible.
Oh, so just like bad deposits kind of thing.
Yeah, it's why most of the classical Japanese armor is actually not steel or iron armor. It's lacquered wood and leather. It's hardened materials.
Yeah. And I did wonder why they didn't use armored, proper metal armor, and I guess clearly that's the reason, because the metal shit. So why waste the shit metal that you have? Why waste it on armor? I suppose.
Yeah, but the contrast to that is that it's creating a mystique around those styles of armor and weapons, which in the West, because the thing is, our style of sword making, going right back to the Roman gladius, it's the same basic shape right through to the end of swords, really, when you get to fencing blades.
Yeah, we really made one sword and went, this is good. We don't really need to change it.
Yeah, the saber came more from the Arabian style of sword making from their cavalry.
Same with that curved blade as well. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
You know the one I mean?
The Kopesh?
That's it, the Kopesh. Yeah, that was that's specifically a riding on a horse kind of blade, if I remember right.
Yeah, so, or you might have meant the scimitar, which that's definitely
no, it's not scimitar. Scimitar looks like a normal sword, just a little curved. I mean, like a proper moon-shaped one.
I know the ones you mean, because their design so that the curve gives you a long cut.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what people forget is that, I mean, I have an extensive library of my own it's. I think it's decent. It's probably modest by a lot of expert standards of books on medieval fighting styles.
Mm.
And the thing is, a lot of these are actually just as involved as the martial arts of China and Japan and the other Far Eastern countries.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The difference is, in the West, a lot of these styles fell out of use around the 1800s.
Mm.
And in fairness, the longsword approach, I mean, the last hurrah of the longsword really was the Jacobite Highland Claymore.
Oh yeah, the
last
classic.
hurrah
Yep.
of that style of. I have a replica of one of those as well, which is quite tasty, to be fair.
Mm.
Basket Hill broadsword, lovely. But we lost a lot of. It's not so much they lost the mystique, but they became obsolete because of the evolution of Western warfare.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Although ironically, one of the things a lot of people forget is that gunpowder existed alongside full plate armor for a long time. There are lots of records of knights on horseback wielding pistols.
I mean, that's where the pistoliers in Warhammer come from, surely.
Yeah,
Or inspired by it, at
some
least.
of the later. But we're talking full plate armor
Yeah.
with pistols, which is and blunderbuss, which is a wonderful image to picture in your mind. To be fair.
Not for the horse.
Just
Scare the shit out of the
No,
horse.
But it's this cross section that people tend to forget because of how arms and armor developed in the West. There's this various crossover periods that kind of get glossed over.
Yeah.
And in Japan, because they had that long period where they were closed off to the outside world, when they finally were opened up again, it revealed this world that was literally been in stasis pretty much for about 200 years, more or less.
Something like that, yeah. The isolation period was, a long time for Japan.
So literally, you had the West, the Victorian era Western world suddenly running slap bang into full-on medieval samurai, which is a hell of a culture shock when you stop and consider. That's like a modern army ranger suddenly finding himself facing, say, a
people with
Jacobite
swords.
Highlander
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
with claymore and it's just such a so it's created that.
Well, they say you don't bring a knife to a gunfight for a reason.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. Samurai sword, beautiful as they are, and the wielder does have. There's an argument they could have an advantage in technique.
Maybe, yeah, potentially,
but that's because of what the weapon requires.
Yeah, that's down to the wielder rather than the blade itself.
Well, it's not just that. Like a Japanese, traditional Japanese swords, to make the cuts that have made them famous, you can't just do it willy-nilly because of the way they're made. They require a certain way of handling them.
Which is based on the wielder, which is what I said.
Yeah, sorry,
It's if blade against blade, the longsword wins. A skilled, I mean, everything else just comes down to who's using it. If I'm using a longsword against a grandmaster samurai, well, I'm gonna die, more than likely, unless I have a gun and I'm very far away.
Yeah, I mean, give me Miyamoto Musashi versus one of the legends of if I remember rightly, D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers is based on a real person.
Yeah, but he's French. He doesn't count. He's not a real person.
Still
Also, Dogtanian greater, but he was a dog.
Yeah, right. That's fair. Yeah.
Dogtanian or Dogtanian? Dogtanian. He was a dog. Better. He fought an evil fox. Was that right? I haven't seen Dogtanian in years. Was the boss an evil fox? The bishop? Was it bishop? Cardinal.
Cardinal Richelieu.
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
I thought so, yeah. I wasn't sure if I was getting him confused with Samurai Pizza Cats, because he was definitely a fox. No one likes foxes. People don't trust a fox, do they?
You know what's funny? Samurai Pizza Cats is just weird blank spot in my pop culture knowledge because it wasn't a thing in Hong Kong when I was growing up.
Ah, okay.
And that's the period it hit over here.
Yes, yeah. At a very specific time. It's very early in the morning as well. Very early.
Yeah.
But Wreckage, back on the Wreckage thing. Yeah, I would agree. His downfall is his blades are a little. They look kind of cool, but then they're just not very wieldy. I did like how they were stored in his vehicle mode.
That was quite fun.
It almost gave a reason to why his back gibble was so big. It wasn't a great reason, but it nicely hid and stored the weapons away. And the actual vehicle mode is really good.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of armored vehicle it is, but it's a good one.
I think it's based on the Striker APC, which is the American super fast 8-wheeled gonzo truck of death and ruin.
I mean, it looks cool, and I'm down for a vehicle that looks cool. Pretty decent color scheme as well. The whole like Arctic camo. It's got a good spread. I think even like in robot mode, it's not a color that you'd usually see for a Decepticon. Like he's primarily white with gray splodges and then gray highlights here and there, and then you've got this orangey reddish color for the limbs. It gives him a nice pop, and I think he looks far better than his repaint counterpart, which was the Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, where they did him in brown and army camo green. The vehicle mode is, I think, just crap because it's just green. There's no like desert camo splodging anywhere or anything like that. And the transformation to robot mode reveals just brown limbs and a white face, and calling him Bludgeon. Like I get what they're going for because it kind of it almost works, I suppose, but
yeah, I mean it's Bludgeon using the movie's color palette,
but a little darker. Whereas, it's a little less saturated.
Because for Toy Bludgeon, the original Bludgeon in a robot was a lot more poppy in its colors, much more orange and a brighter green.
Yeah, still brown, but much more bright brown. Like Mornfang brown, maybe.
And I'll be honest, I own both of these versions of Wreckage still to this day. And for a while, Bludgeon I thought he was going to be my Bludgeon in my collection for the longest time.
Which is funny because this was Revenge of the Fallen, where within the same line, definitely a more accurate Bludgeon came out with a movie twist to it. Which I know some people really don't like, but I think it's quite good Bludgeon figure, to be honest. We'll get to that next time.
Yeah.
You know? As a repaint, I do like his blades are in purple this time around instead of red. Arguably, that's more Decepticon-y. That's probably more appropriate, I suppose. But,
I have to say, for one, that is something I do like about both this figure's uses is the way they've used translucent plastic.
Yes. It's not egregious.
No, and both have light piping, which actually does work if you want to.
Well, to be fair, that's like the entire back half of his head. Light piping would look great on you if I hollowed out your eyes and took off the back portion of your head and replaced it with clear plastic.
To anyone listening to this, that was Andy's just a random idea. If it wasn't a promise on his part. No, you don't know
that. The light piping is good, but it is literally an entire slice of his head, but it works. So it's better than some of the bizarre practices which Hasbro have done in the past, which is like we've given him light piping and then we've painted over the eyes, which was always weird. At least this worked.
Yeah, and you know what else works on it? It poses pretty dang well, I found.
Yeah, because he's got they're not the best ball-jointed ankles. They're a little bit on the limited side, but they can work a little bit. And I think for the most part, he's reasonably posable. He could have done some
bicep, which is quite nice.
He could have done with some because I don't think he has them. I don't think he has thigh swivels. I don't think he does, which is so he's missing that.
Lacking,
I think he does. Does he have a bicep swivel? I think he does, right?
I think he does.
I think he does.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
It looks like he might, but if you look at where the gray peg is going into the ball socket, if there is a slice just underneath there, it's very tight. So I'm not entirely sure, but I'm reasonably sure.
Yeah.
What he needed, though, was more
doesn't,
neck movement.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And that's purely... I mean, the head turns quite nicely. It's just because of the angle of... The way the neck assembly is angled into the chest, and the chest is on quite a steep angle, it just needed a little extra in the back, hollowed out of the head.
Pretty much.
So,
he would have been good
otherwise,
then. Yeah.
Otherwise, perfect goon material for anyone's collection.
One of the, like I say, one of the better, especially one of the better deluxes, I would say. Mr. White says, Wreckage looks like Megatron trying a sneaky disguise to enter an Autobot party without an invite. Oh my god.
That's a good point, actually, yeah. I mean, if that bucket was painted black, that could be a really fun G1 comic Megatron tribute. Just spray them all in gunmetal.
If you look at it incorrectly, it almost could look like, instead of, the bottom bit with the M shape looking like his mouth, if you imagine that as a chin strap like Kurt Angle used to have when he had his head shaved.
Yeah.
You could ruin the figure by making it look a bit like that in your mind. But next up, we have a figure I've never had. Kind of glad I didn't. This is Stockade, who I think is one of the other kind of generic background kind of goons. He is very chesty, very army, and then lots of panels of his car mode flopping everywhere. But he does have a nice head sculpt, I would say. Did you have this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Big D?
I think I have the remodels gears. I might have this version as well somewhere, because I know it's not one I didn't pick up either version on release. I remember that much, but it was one that I knew it was flawed, but I liked I liked what they were trying to do, so I wanted it in the collection at some point.
What were they trying to do then, from your perspective? What were they trying to do?
I mean, to my mind, they were trying to create just a slightly more interesting goon type henchman to go along with Barricade, hence Stockade. and I think they were close. But unfortunately, this is another one where they were kind of sabotaged by... So, is this one who his chest does weird things?
Let us have a look at what it says. They haven't written anything about any features or anything like that, so I don't know. Because I've never owned this figure, and he's a black figure with a black kibble. All of his chest area and back kibble kind of merge into one black blob in this one image, so it's a little hard to tell what is there and what's not. But it looks like, you can confirm this or not, that he's got a lot of kibble on the underside of both of his arms as well. Do you know if that's true? Do you remember if that's true? He does. Okay.
And it's a lot of translucent plastic as well.
Oh yeah, looking at that, my assumption was everything for the roof of the car was translucent plastic, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite nice and ironically stocky.
Yeah,
which helps. And it's another one of those designs because it's not actually directly movie based. It's using a movie vehicle, but they've been able just to put a more G1 body inside it. It means that the legs, there's not a lot to them, but they do the job. You can stand it and pose it with a decent degree of action to things, in spite of the kibble hanging off his arms.
All right.
So it's not perfect. It's hampered by limitations, but it's not terrible. We've certainly seen a lot worse in this line.
An odd place for a Decepticon insignia, though, right? Just above the knee joint.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
It's like they didn't have... It's like they didn't have anywhere else to put it, but they do. They have lots of other places to put it.
Yeah, I mean, they could have put it on his chest unless they thought, well, we don't have to worry about having two colours of paint trying to dry at the same time.
It's a Tampo. Couldn't they just put it on the left or the right side of the light blue, the Allspark blue? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's odd.
Or on one side of his chest plate.
Yeah, you would have thought so.
Or something.
I will say that the vehicle mode is very good. I do like the look of it. It's a very handsome little family car. Know what they're called? Like this is the typical middle class mom car that would take all the kids to school in, or the government would come in and rescue in, one of the two.
Yeah, I was going to say it's cute, but it's got the Sector 7 logo on the side of it as well.
Yes, the Sector 7 series, which was always kind of every now and again picked up and then not really done anything with, apart from a brief subline in a subline, which was always odd. But yeah, the car mode's nice. You mentioned that we also got Autobot gears out of him, and that is an interesting color scheme. This is not what I would think of when making a Gears figure. Blue, white, and brown, toffee orange, let's call it. This is much more of a getaway color scheme, I think. And even then, it's not entirely getaway either. But it's definitely more getaway than it is Gears.
Yeah, it was an odd choice of colors. Let's be charitable and say that.
It's not bad. It is just different.
It works. It's just like you say, it's not what you think of when you think Gears.
No.
And look, they've got his logo on his chest.
Yeah, just noticed that. It can be done. It's in the right place. That is where the other one should have been as well.
It doesn't look like he's made questionable choices on a trip to Ibiza.
I thought it looked a little bit like he's been walking through like mud ponds, but only they go up to his knees.
Oh, with Gears, yeah.
Yeah.
That brown, the brownish bronze is unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good old trouser stain. It's not like poo stain, which is nice. Well, it's not nice, but it's appreciated at least. Even his car mode's okay. The only thing I don't really... Well, there are three things I don't like about the car mode. One is the back window is painted a completely different color to the rest of the front windows. So that's weird.
I've not even tried there.
No, we have like Fenrisian wolf grey versus like a purple translucent plastic.
I mean, they could have just painted that black, and it would have done much better job of blending in.
Yeah, it would have been way more than the blue, like black, or at least try to get kind of the purple, I guess. But yeah, the blue's weird. The other thing is on the back door, we have like a hinge joint, like. I can point on stream. And this is obviously a different plastic color from the rest of the car, unfortunately. You know? Yeah. I get it. It is always a shame when that happens. And the last point that kind of irritates me about the car is the gear. I know it's meant to be gears, but the gear tampo just stops. It just stops. It cuts off, and it's not on the front part of the car. It's on the door, but it's not on the rest of it. And it's like, finish it off.
Yeah, I know you mentioned it last time, but that does irritate, doesn't it? It's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Go that extra step, guys, please.
Or just push the gear tampo further back and let it be a complete thing. Just cutting it off and not having the other side of it looks weird.
Never understood that. Who signs off on, we've got a nice deco, but we're going to cut it off because we can't put it on two different bits of plastic. Does someone not say, well, can we not just move it back a bit so that all the design's on one piece of the car?
Move it back, resize it, something. Don't just snip it off. I don't know.
Go into MS Paint, guys. Shrink it down a bit and move it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have thought it'd be. I thought it would be fine. But like I say, I think the vehicle mode is nice. I think this is probably the better version of them all because it's just got more interesting colors on it.
Yeah.
Even if they're weird.
You can see more of the mode as well. It's just whereas Stockade, although he's got some very nice black to him, and it's quite a nice glossy black, it does mean that it obscures an awful lot of the sculpted detail that's in play. Whereas this one, the blue with those bronzy oranges and browns, that works quite nicely with that bit of silver. Silvery grey as a spot against it. Yeah, I deal with that. Yeah,
it's a weird looking figure, but okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. Yeah. He's got nice big hands as well, and for a deluxe to have like a pin going through the knuckles to have like an opening hand, that's kind of nice. I don't think it's necessary because like looking at where the joint is and how that hand would open, I don't think it would look amazing for the hand to be open anyway.
See, looking at Gears, I'm trying to remember now if it might have been his action was more of a power punch gimmick of some sort, hence the big arms. But
That
I
would
honestly
make
can't
sense.
remember what he did.
No, I know. Again, like I say, this doesn't say what the action feature was either. Welcome, Rodimus Power Toy Collector. Hello, I'm glad you're here tonight. Yay! So that's
Honestly,
gears.
I was just going to say, honestly, the biggest knock against it is how the way that the windows on the car just don't even try and hide.
Well,
but you can't. It's not like you can even try and fold them back further because they're on limited hinges and
No.
they're translucent. So you don't want to try and bend them because they'll just shatter.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It looks like they only fold because it helps show the hands. That's at least around the fists. At least it just helps show them. It doesn't really hide the windows or anything. Yeah, but you know, interesting. I've never had the figure, but it's an interesting looking one.
It's not a bad one to have in a collection. I've never regretted owning this figure. So.
Mr. White says if they'd just added fuller range to the two window panels, it would have left the figure with much cleaner silhouette. Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that. Wrangle of range. I think he meant to put range of hinges. I mean, yeah, I think I get what you mean, Mr. White. Yeah, just to hide them, to tuck them away would have helped tidy it up. Now we're going to talk about the preview figures for the movie, the Pooh figures. Literally, they turned into Pooh figures. We're going to start off with arguably the worst one because it's Starscream. And why is it obviously that this one's the worst one? Well, he was made out of gold plastic, so guess.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Part of me's tempted someday to. I'm tempted to go to TF Nation in Reading this year.
Oh, you should. Why not?
Well, the tickets are on sale now, so I'm awfully tempted. But
yeah,
I'd have to fight the urge to go up to Toy Fu and buy something with gold plastic and just try and crush it in my bare hands there.
Well, it wouldn't be hard. A child could do it, you know. This the weird thing is Starscream isn't even this color in the movie, so I don't know why they decided gold plastic syndrome was the idea. But it's for those not aware, it's meant to be the entry mode where they've kind of zoomed down from space. Hallelujah, which I guess isn't a. It's an idea. I was going to say it isn't a terrible idea, but it kind of is.
I thought it is because it immediately makes the main plot point of Megatron being frozen when he lands on Earth make no sense if they're saying the Transformers travel between planets in these protoform modes. It's like, well, hang on, then why the fuck is Megatron frozen by Arctic temperatures if he's been in deep space for millions of years?
Are you telling me that the highly acclaimed quality Oscar-worthy writing team of the Transformers movies might not have written a good movie with a plot hole in? Is that what you're saying?
Those guys could do a good Cena and Hercules story. Transformers, not so much.
Hercules story.
Kurtzman and Orky, they wrote Hercules and Xena for the longest time.
Oh, I thought you meant like what the wasn't there a newer like live action Hercules movie? Probably.
There was for one with The Rock.
No, I'm getting it confused with the Conan the Barbarian with Jason Momoa. Yeah, I didn't see it, but I was like, no. No.
It's entertaining. It's not a great Conan movie, but it's fine.
So yeah, Starscream turns into a flying poo. He comes with a fire effect, which awkwardly attaches to his bottom, and he also comes with the Eagle Plastic Syndrome gun and missile. Now, the design of it is, for a deluxe figure, it's okay. It's arguably better proportion than what Starscream is when he lands on Earth, I think. It's much better proportions.
It has proportions that you could attribute to a humanoid figure.
Yes, yeah, unlike Starscream.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was a bit weird. He has the nipple turbines as well, so that's kind of a nod to the original G1 figure, obviously. But it's like, okay. He just doesn't transform in a very interesting way. And is it that he doesn't transform in an interesting way? Or is it that he just doesn't transform into anything interesting? Or is it both? Because it might be both I'm talking about it.
I think it's both. And sadly, that applies to both of these figures.
I would agree. But yeah.
The
transformation is pretty much everything that is pointed at the front, you point backwards. You stretch it out. And that's pretty much it. It's not great. Exelhead says, I like the Starscream while not a jet. At least he wasn't a Dorito chip robot. That's true. But I hear the ladies like the Dorito shape, you know? The broad shoulders go to the skinny waist, so maybe Starscream was appealing to the female gaze. Did you ever consider that? I will say I don't like the hands on this Starscream either. It looks like he's wearing mittens to take something out of the oven, you know?
Yeah, but at least they've got a post hole sculpted in there so you can hold things. But yeah, otherwise there's not really a lot to say about those hands. They're not great.
No, they're a bit on the silly side. I don't think this figure was ever reused. Apparently, it was really used for Protoform Starscream Fusion Cluster Edition, which I assume is this release, but in Japan. That's my assumption. Why do I assume it's Japan? Because the name is fucking humongous. I'm sorry. I've seen your manga titles. Don't fucking judge me. So I'm going to say that's that. We'll talk about the Optimus Prime, who has a kind of interesting head sculpt. I'll give it that. And I kind of like his weird toad feet. Again, this is for the OnlyFans version of Optimus Prime, clearly. I don't like his knocked-kneed legs, because you could fold in his shins would like tilt inwards, if I remember. I think this one is better. One, he doesn't collapse if you like touch him because he's not gold plastic. Two, I think the design is reasonably better, not by a mile. He also has normal human hands as well. Well, robot human hands.
I mean, at least you can say that it does vaguely resemble how Prime looked in this form in the film.
Well, for the I guess second we saw him, yeah. I think it's fine. He obviously also turns into a turd, but a turd with wheels. And I think this one looks more poo-like. Like, if I held this from the tip and held it downwards, so as you know, the girthier part was pointing downwards, and turned off the lights in a room, it would look like a poo.
I mean, it looks more organic, yes.
Yes. I don't think it's meant to.
There's no getting around that, is there?
No. Starscream's had the idea that it might be some kind of space-worthy vehicle kind of thing. Not really, but it looked a bit more like a spaceship. This looks like it's meant to be an asteroid, but not a very convincing one, again, because it has wheels and it has a window screen, which is odd. But it is smoother, so I guess it does this mode better. But the robot mode, because of how smooth the poo mode is, he has back kibble. He has hip kibble as well, which is not very appealing either.
Yeah. I do dig how the head looks, though.
Yeah, I like the head sculpt.
It's actually an interesting head sculpt.
Yes, it's interesting.
It just doesn't look like Optimus Prime.
It looks like. Do you remember the episode of Voyager where they had the Doctor's what's it called? His little holograph emitter, which allowed him to walk around the ship.
Yes. Yeah.
And it gets infested with Borg nanites, and it turns into a Borg of the future.
Yes, one.
Yeah, that's him. Episode. It makes me feel like it's this. It looks like a future version of Optimus Prime. Not Optimus Prime himself, like somewhat not even Optimal Optimus or anything like that. Like an Optimus Prime 10 million years in the future, and he's like, I'm kind of like Optimus Prime.
You know what it reminds me of? Some of the concept art we did for Transtectors.
Yeah. Now, obviously we're not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. We're saying it's a thing. I would say it's a bad thing, personally. I think the Transtector art direction was not great, personally. But I guess that's a different topic. Would you say this is better than Starscream? I would say it's better than Starscream, personally. I like it more than Starscream. I still say it's not good.
Yeah. I did find a picture of the Japanese versions, though.
Oh, okay. Pop that into the chat. Yeah.
I threw it in the chat, and well, they took a different approach.
Oh, they went translucent. I mean,
and vibrant.
So there are elements to it being translucent and bright, which makes sense because they're meant to be entering Earth's atmosphere. So it's like, okay. It makes the poo modes, the entry modes, actually kind of work in an interesting aspect. The robot modes, obviously, not so much.
No.
But they are interesting. I'll give them that.
Yes.
I'll give them that.
Certainly more so than the mainline
American
release.
But so. I guess it makes both of them more fragile than just the American one, which is definitely fragile.
I have no doubt.
So the American Optimus Prime is probably more stable, or the most stable of the four of them. Probably. Mr. White says that these protoforms were, for the longest time, the closest modern Transformers game to Rocklords. Yes. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Optimus Prime reminded me a lot of... Do you remember the He-Man rock guys?
I remember those guys.
I don't know what they were called, but I had one of them, and for some reason, I think it was because he was kind of grey and blue as well. The one I had, he made me think of this, kind of. Exelhead says...
I think I always called them Rock Lords, even though they weren't, just because it was the only thing that made any goddamn sense. I
think I did as well, because I think I saw... Obviously, they weren't in the He-Man cartoon, as far as I'd seen, because I only had Secret of the Sword on Hooky VHS, obviously. And I'd obviously seen Rocklords as well, and never had one or seen one because they were long gone when I was wanting to buy things. Exelhead says that Fusion Cluster Starscream is is just transparent clear plastic orange. Sure is. Yeah, he's a thing. These were obviously not redone. Yeah. They're not the best. Another Decepticon drone figure is Payload. And looking at him initially, you might be like, he doesn't look too bad. Well, you're wrong.
Oh, he's the one with the chest. That's right.
Yes, because what you don't see is around the back, there is a big piece of, a big long stick of plastic that comes out. And you push that inwards towards his back, and then his little abdomen area kind of comes out, and I think two pincery things comes from the sides.
Grabby claw that is very silly, but...
Yes.
Yeah, it's very silly.
It's not great, unsurprisingly. It's a big old gimmick feature. You know what's kind of interesting? The shoulder and head part you can pop off from the torso, because it's only held on by like three really small pegs, which was kind of odd. I remember transforming this guy was not desperately fun to get him into his bank armored truck mode. Panels would not go together desperately well. I think some of these were on springs as well, right?
Yeah. Some of that I think was because of the gimmick as well, to facilitate it.
Probably.
There were layers to this thing.
Yes, and all of them hampered him, unfortunately. He's also got bitch-slapping hands. He doesn't even have, like, normal, weird clawed hands. They are full-on slapping a hoe kind of hand. Better or worse, I suppose. This is not a great feature. Okay, the features... Robot to vehicle conversion, spring-loaded capture claw, that was the tummy thing, and auto-morph transformation. I'd say 2 out of 3 of those things were not very good in terms of gimmicks. I do like the head sculpt.
Yeah.
It is a big old mono eye, so that's nice, I suppose.
It's got a nice bit of detail around the actual head, though, which is... It's not just mono eye. There's more to it, so you got a little bit of a chin. And
yes, that's a good point. It's not like Swindle, who we talked about last time, who was just a giant camera face and not very good.
This one feels a bit more like you could say that he's actually a personality, just with an even weirder head than Shockwave.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit more to it.
And you know what? As much of a pain as it was to transform, it's actually not a bad vehicle mode either.
And it's nice to see this kind of vehicle as well, because I'm not sure if we've ever had a bank armored truck before. No. Not like this, at least. It's nice.
And it's one of those vehicles that you just think, well, as soon as you see it, you think, well, why haven't we had more Transformers like this? It's perfect.
Yeah, because it's a good, solid kind of not full-on truck Optimus Prime where you look at it and you go, well, it has to be Optimus Prime because it's a truck, but it's still a big kind of imposing kind of vehicle. And that has an interesting look, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, if you want a henchman type character or a big, strong guy like Bulkhead, use one of these. Perfect.
I mean, you said Bulkhead. I mean, I think the closest we've had to something like this is Prime Breakdown, and it's not even one for one.
Yeah.
Like, that's the closest thing I can think of. The Jack says, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm glad to be here. Welcome, the Jack. I love you. And when we get a chat about Paw Patrol figures, man, if they had... Paw Patrol probably could have had a crossover with Rescue Bots, to be fair, and that would have made a lot of sense, I think, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, did Payload get a repaint? No, but he did get a movie advanced series dispenser. Oh, no, that's right. He got repainted into the Mountain Dew machine. Do you have a picture of that, Big D?
Yeah, I'm just signaling it across to you now.
Thank you. Because it's just it's the Mountain Dew truck. It's this vehicle mode, if I remember, but they were like, it's the Mountain Dew machine. It's like, it wasn't. It's the closest we got. Yeah, it's obviously a quite small image, but you can see that they've redone the head to try and look similar, and they've given him the Sody Pop gun.
Yeah,
I think
he's got the decals at least, so...
Yeah, they would have had to pay for that, for the advertisement and stuff. I would have chosen a more chemical green color for him, because Mountain Dew is not a strong, like, Dark Angels green. It's more of a, oh god, my insides are melting kind of green, which I do appreciate.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew is like, if Mountain Dew is something that could probably melt your internal organs, but I remember when I was last in America really enjoying it. But that's probably because I was getting addicted to the sugar.
It's one of those drinks that if you go anywhere outside the States, you can find better, but inside it's probably about as good as you're going to get.
Oh, see, I would say, like, you could get Mountain Dew here in the UK, but because of, I'm sure, like, our health restrictions on food products, it doesn't taste anything like Mountain Dew, and it tastes like dog shit in comparison.
Well, the weird thing is that here you have to actually use proper sugar. Whereas the American ones, they don't. They use artificial sugars and preservatives and corn, and fill it all with cornstarch and other crap, and that's why it's
good. It kills you, but oh boy, does it taste good, baby. Yeah. I don't recommend it, but I kind of do at the same time. It's like crack cocaine. I don't recommend it, but if you get on it, you're gonna be stuck on it. Good luck, America. I believe in you. You got this. Now, talking about things that aren't very good for you, Scorponok. Oh, boy. Ooh. The figure that is probably a 3-step transformation? Is that fair to say?
I think that's probably being generous, to be fair.
I am counting both legs folding downwards as 2 separate parts of the transformation. So a plus to the Scorponok figure is it looks like Scorponok from the movie, just with really, really tiny legs.
Yes.
But it looks like him. He didn't have a robot mode. So they went, what if he just stood up? And someone clapped and went, that's it. You're getting a promotion, Jimmy.
That's it. Cocaine time, boys.
Yeah, pretty much. This is a awful, awful little figure. But it does have gimmicks, and people like gimmicks, so let's read them. It has a spring-loaded stinger, which, as you can see, isn't a firing missile stinger. It's got a where the tip of the end of the missile would be. It's got a big old stopper on, so it'll only go so far stop, and then you have to push it back in. It's got one of those. It's got a gear-driven spinning claw device. Yeah, it was a weird thing. The gear spinning claw thing, not bad. It does become very exposed in his groin cock region for the robot mode, because you push him along and you've got the two wheels. It is nice because it it turns the gears in his like tummy area, and they look quite cool. And then also rotates his little claws as well to give him his little drilling action, which is okay. It looks good enough. And the final thing is he can combine with the vehicle mode for movie blackout and all subsequent versions of the mold. Now it doesn't show it though.
No, I remember I saw a picture of it once, and I just thought, wait, you somehow made blackout even more ungainly by sticking a whole deluxe figure on him.
Yeah, I can't imagine this would sit desperately well anywhere on that figure. Because it's a deluxe, it's reasonably big, especially compared to a Voyager.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where did you put him? Just on like his backpack or something?
I think so.
Oh, no.
You kind of mount him underneath the chopper where the tiny version of Scorponok went.
How?
That just looks hysterical.
Yeah, he's be too big. Way too big.
I think where you got those two post holes on the top of the...
Oh, the ports.
Yeah, I think they're part of it. I think they plug in.
That would make sense.
If I remember.
Yeah. No,
I could be wrong. I'm sure
no, I think you're right, because I think Scorponok's little cage on the bottom of Blackout you could pull out, and I think there were two pegs there. So I think you might be right. Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, the Scorpion mode actually looked pretty decent, but then they tried to make it transform, and it's just like
I said, I think the Scorpion mode looks fairly accurate, but apart from he has incredibly weedy baby scorpion legs, like amusingly so.
Yeah.
I would have liked the tail, obviously, to do a bit more as well, but, you know, I think the legs are the most egregious thing about this mode.
Yeah. At least he got a fun little gimmick with the spinny bits in his hands and his torso.
It feels like that's where most of the money went on this. They went, we don't really know what to do for robot mode, so just give it some things to do.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it feels. Mr. White says, I remember buying a real Jew when I went out to the States. No sleep was had that night. Oh, damn. Poor Mr. White. I can't imagine a wired Mr. White. I bet that would have been you and Gruff together. That wired Mr. White and Gruff together would have been a good time, I'm sure. XL Head says, yeah, I miss European food standards, but Americans are addicted to fats and sugars, and sadly our politicians will never adopt other countries' standards, even if they are better for the public. Probably. It's hard to say, but you're probably right. Mr. White says, robot mode, in quotations, Scorponok looks like Muffet the robot dog in the 70s Battlestar Galactica. Now, I don't know that.
Yeah. Muffet the Daggett from Battlestar Galactica, yeah.
I've only seen the 2000s Battlestar Galactica, and I thought it was fine.
Well, do you remember the kid who appeared in the pilot miniseries and the first 2 or 3 episodes of Battlestar? He was like Starbucks sidekick at one point.
No, because it's been too long since I've seen it, you know.
Well, in the original, he and his mother were major parts of the cast, and he had a dog that got killed in the attack, so they made him a robot, which was covered in fur with some engine, which was basically a chimpanzee in a suit.
Oh God!
The entire thing. It was the thing of nightmares. And
I'm not surprised.
From a time where we had. Bear in mind, this was the same period with Buck Rogers with Tweety, droid. This was even more okay. So,
a chimp. Yeah. I'd be concerned with just having a chimp on set, to be honest. But That's my chimp racism coming out.
Yes.
We move on to the Voyagers now, to a brown Starscream, everybody's favorite brown Starscream, with the widest birthing hips in all of Transformers history. As Axel Hedge earlier said, this is the Dorito bot. He does not have hands. He has missiles, and then he has fingers coming out of the guns to try and emulate his hands. It's a weird-looking toy. The Automorph gimmick is fine. And the jet mode is absolute garbage because it is fat as fuck.
Yep.
I'll tell you what I never got. I never understood, and it shows you even in this image, where the missiles are stored. You've got this black piece that swings out to the side where you can then shove the missiles. I never understood why that was a thing.
Well, the F-22, which this is based on, and what Starscream was in the film, all of its weaponry is internal.
Okay.
So it doesn't. It's not like the older generations of fighters where it had wing pylons with weapons underneath the wings. Instead, everything's carried on the internal bays in the fuselage.
Okay.
So I think they're trying, and to fire, they have to open up the doors and the missile racks lower down. I think they've tried to do that here, but badly.
But because it's right next to the missile launcher where you put the missiles anyway, it seems rather redundant. And the missiles never really went in there desperately well, I'd say. It was kind of shaky.
They don't look great in those. In fact, I've owned this mold a couple of times in various versions. I didn't realize you could do that until I saw this image.
Yep. I figured it out. I figured it out, but I never knew what the point was, and it doesn't ever seem to have a point. It does have an attack mode. The attack mode is probably the way that most normal people store the missiles, like yourself. You put them in the missile launchers, obviously.
Yeah, I mean...
Again, generous, the TFU would class this as an attack mode, but that's how they've been doing things so far.
Why would you do otherwise?
I don't know. It's weird. There is the Automorph, which, if I remember, the Automorph was the front of the cockpit kind of pushed up. And in his robot mode, you can see that there's like a big groove in his groin. That's where the front of the cockpit kind of comes down, and it brings in the Dorito shape into kind of a more tidy package. If I remember, though, even though it looks like it here, the arms are not actually connected properly to the chest. They are connected to black armatures behind the chest, right?
Yeah, you can just see those armatures underneath the Dorito thing in the picture.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the most user-friendly of arrangements. No,
when you have armatures with being the shoulder joint, it never turns out desperately well. There was always the case as well of the extra wing flaps. There was nothing to do with them. So you have these ones on the front of the shoulders, which just kind of sit there. And then you have the back ones as well, which you don't really have anything to do with either. It's a real mess. This figure was a real mess. It was not good at all. And obviously as well, he was in a horrible brown color, which he shouldn't be, because he wasn't brown. He was silver.
Not Screamer's finest hour, to say the least.
No, but it did get more redos than you'd think. There was the Toshiba Starscream Veranda Red model. Can you find that image, Big D? While I show them Deep Space Starscream. Deep Space Starscream.
Allow me to work my Google foo.
Thank you. Dark Space Starscream is probably the movie accurate version because they did him in silver, which does make his jet mode boring as fuck. It is just silver with nothing to it, but at least the robot mode has kind of extra red and gold in quotations detailing to make it look like it's him. He does have some tampos that says FFFW, which I don't know what that would mean, but there you go. So that's something.
Well, I found a picture of that Toshiba repaint, and I'm not going to lie, I think it might be the nicest repaint of the lot.
Yeah, he is red with gold highlights, which isn't
But
bad.
it's a very dark maroonish red.
Yeah.
From the pictures I've seen. So
yeah, no,
I dig that.
yeah, it's not bad. The best of them, I'm not sure I'd go with the. How about the best of the standard Starscreams?
I would go with that. Yeah.
They also did a ramjet version for Revenge of the Fallen because even though they had a brand new Starscream mold, they went, well, why not? Why don't we just use it one more time and put it in ramjet colors for some reason? So he's got more dark blue on him than I'd think a ramjet would have, and he's also got the weird, gross, dark poo brown on parts of him as well from the missiles for some bizarre reason. But the jet mode looks fairly ramjetty, I'd say, at the very least. It's a little ugly, but yeah.
I mean, I don't find this repaint egregious anyway. It's quite nice for repaint. It's just a shame it's a kind of a crappy figure it's on.
Yeah, so. I agree. They did remold this figure, though. And by remold, I mean they gave a much better head, but it is still a weird head. And then they went, what if we would do the Seekers? Because fuck you, you're a Transformer fan. You'll buy it. You're an idiot, aren't you? So there was
they know their audience.
Yeah, so there was a Thundercracker who's in not really Thundercracker blue. He's in more of a grayish blue, but not Space Wolf blue.
The weird thing is, this is more the colours they did Masterpiece Starscream in for the first release of that figure.
No, Masterpiece Starscream was greenish.
No, that's true. Still a darkish grayish color. Well, push more to the green shade, but still.
But it's that kind of hue, I suppose.
It's still weird, especially given what they did for the next one.
Yeah, then we have Starscream, which is just boring Starscream colors, I guess.
Yeah.
No yellow. That's the big thing, I suppose. It's just a Starscream. Does have tampos on him for Decepticon insignia, and then you have Skywarp, which is what you would expect. It's black with bits of purple. I like the new head. I think the new head's quite nice. I think it's better than the actual movie. Head. You look at it and you go, that looks more like Starscream rather than the weird head that we got for the movie at the very least.
I get that they wanted to give all the cons a more insectile feel for the film, but this feels like more of a halfway house. Yes, it's got more of a movie vibe, but you could also show it to any Transformers fan and go, "Oh, is that a Seeker?" Yeah,
you have an idea. You get what it's meant to be, unlike Bug Boy, who could be anything. XL Hedge says Scorponok should have came with that one soldier that got stabbed with his tail. That would have been a pretty neat accessory, but for a children's toy, somehow I think that might have been difficult to get through the toy standards people, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I do like the idea, though. I think that's morbidly funny.
That sounds like a custom you could do for XL Hedge, so crack on, lad.
Yeah, I agree. The Jack says, I miss Armada Starscream. Oh, well, yeah, he was a much better toy than this thing was, at least.
God, yeah.
We have Voyager Megatron, I think also known as, Ice Megatron or Frozen Megatron. This wasn't the one I had. I had the leader one. I remember feeling that I thought this one looked better. But in hindsight now, in the year of our Lord 2025, I think they both look shit. Did you have this one, Big D?
I did not. I didn't really go in for either Prime or Megatron from this film, just because
that was wise.
I didn't feel either of their toys particularly looked great, and
no, they weren't.
Yeah,
they weren't. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this one was really good. The paint job is obviously a bit of a mess. He can transform into a iced up version of his fucking horrific jet mode, quote unquote jet mode, where you can still see his head. There is a robot attack mode, which is a generous description of flipping up his back wings, not bat wings. And then there is an attack mode for his jet mode, which is where the wings sweep forward as like a grabby claw, I suppose. I don't know why he has orange highlights, brownie, goldy highlights. He never had these in the movie, but he has them now. His hands were a mess in the movie and are a real fucking disaster on this smaller figure, as it looks like his hand. Imagine getting your hand, making a flat motion with it, like a karate chop motion, and then putting it straight flat underneath a car wheel and having the car drive over your hand, and it kind of gives you an idea of what the hand would look like.
They used real rubbery plastic as well, didn't they, for his hand?
They did for the leader. I don't know about the Voyager. I assume probably, though.
Yeah, because I'm sure I remember someone telling me that they were just not pleasant to do anything with, because they wouldn't stay in any shape. If you tried to put anything in them, it just...
Oh, he couldn't hold anything. Definitely not.
Yeah.
So what can he do? He could transform, obviously. Spring-loaded missile launcher, flip-out claws. Flip-out claws? Probably for the jet mode, I'm guessing. And automorph transformation somewhere in this mess. I
mean, how would you tell? It's just...
A great question. I don't have an answer. This got reused more than you'd think. I thought it was only done once.
I was surprised to see how many of these there were, to be honest.
Yeah, there's the Best Buy Premium Series Megatron, which he has a complete burnt face, or he is indeed blackface for some reason. Very culturally inappropriate Megatron. I hope you're happy. You're racist.
Nice crisp silver they've used.
Yes. The ice looks a bit weird, but it's fine. He still has his golden hands, though, which are wrong, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
But I'd say this is a step up, I suppose, from the previous one.
Yeah, I mean, you've lost a bit of... At least the other one, with the translucence, they were having a bit of fun with some of the colouring. This, they've gone from a pearlescent colour to the translucence, which works with the silver, I suppose, but it loses some of the interest that you had with the other one. But...
Yeah, I would agree. There was the Screen Battles, Battle over Mission City Megatron, where he was obviously oranged ice, which I'm guessing is meant to be fire, maybe? And then he's not in the same kind of colors as standard movie Starscream, but he's edging that way. If you get that Starscream and you edge that more towards like a standard gray, that's kind of Megatron's in between like standard gray and that colored Starscream, I'd say.
At least he's got the right color hands this time. Or at least they match the rest of his robot.
That's true.
Is
yeah.
what they should do. You do wonder though, could they not have left the translucence off of his chest at least?
I think it's just part of the mold. I don't think they can get rid of them. I think there's like if you took the translucent pieces off of him, there'd probably just be there'd probably be like gaps or like indentations or something. I don't know exactly, but I think it'd probably look a bit of a mess. So there's that one. The Jack says Megatron hate, cancel Tron. Yes, we must cancel Tron Megatron. It's time. Exelhead says Megatron baffles me as the movie designers could give him a consistent design. Prime red and blue truck with flames. Megatron garbage design after garbage design. I'd love to hear someone say that you were wrong and would try and fight you on that, Exelhead, because I'd be fascinated to hear the argument.
I mean, Dark of the Moon and Last Night probably have the best Megatron designs of the Bayverse, of the Michael Bay movies.
But are they good?
I mean, Dark of the Moon makes at least his design is telling a story, is continuing a narrative.
But is it good?
But no. And then you have and Last Night Megatron is actually I've got a version of the toy that's really fun to mess around with. Is
that the one with the transforming helmet design?
Yeah, got the weird tusks on the side of his head and a sword.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
But that works mainly because it's such a departure from the previous 4 movies versions of him, which were jank.
I always thought he was kind of Generatron because he kind of smoothed out.
Yeah, but that's the flip side. They just made him way more generic.
Yeah, there's nothing to him. And then for Revenge of the Fallen, they thought, well, why not bring him out one more time? And we have Revenge of the Fallen Gathering at Nemesis Megatron. Not the Nemesis, Gathering at Nemesis Megatron. which probably looks like it's the most like this is the color that probably should have came out originally, I guess. Maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. He's got normal colored hands, like it matches the rest of his boudet. The translucent ice is just white, which, as you mentioned before, Big D, kind of boring. The blue definitely makes it look a bit more interesting, ice kind of color rather than that. I do like the fact that they threw on the the metallic on the face and then the red eyes. That's nice, I suppose.
The face actually really does pop on this version.
Yeah.
Much more than the other ones have.
But it is definitely still a mess of a mold.
Yeah.
It isn't good. However, on the flip side, the Optimus Prime, I've got down here RoboVision, but I think RoboVision and the standard Voyager Optimus Prime were exactly the same, apart from maybe the... Yeah, I think that just the colors, the paint job was very mildly different. This one...
I have a version of this Prime.
This one's not bad. It's not great, and it doesn't really look like movie Optimus Prime, you know, because of how his legs look and like how his chest looks, and he does have the entire front grille of the truck just hanging off of his back like a Japanese schoolchild's backpack going to school. But out of this one and the leader, this is the better figure. It's more posable. I remember that.
It's more fun to do stuff with.
Yes, 100%. It does have automorphing in its legs, which make the shins a little bit less fun to deal with, granted. But it's better. I tell you what I liked most. I liked his guns. I thought the guns were pretty fun.
The guns are quite niff. I'd forgotten about this version's guns because they are kind of fun.
Yeah, there are the smokestacks for the truck mode and the... What do you call them? Like what's the grey bit underneath the blue bit? Is that the oil
tanks?
Fuel tanks. Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought it might have something to do with that. Thank you.
Or if you're American, they're gas tanks.
No, we're not American, thankfully. So they're fuel tanks. The thing I like about the design of these guns is it makes it look like it's a, I don't know, machine gun with a grenade launcher underneath them.
Yeah,
and that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Prime can hold them, I think, over the top of his hands, but not undersling them. Maybe that's good or bad. It doesn't perfectly look like a machine gun with a grenade launcher, but it's good enough because it does have a missile.
It gives you that vibe. So
I think so.
It's close enough.
Apparently, a non-removable driver figure appears to be based on the voice actor for Peter Cullen. Why is that a feature?
Yeah, I remember.
Why is that a feature of the toy? Why is that here?
They made a point to highlight it because it's a rarity to have a Prime with a molded driver in the alt mode.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And they did base it on Peter Cullen, so he's got a little Stetson, and I think even though it's quite small, you can actually look at it and see a bit of Cullen's features about the face. In all
honesty, I didn't notice there was a little driver in this one. Yeah. I just remembered the tire covers in the back weren't desperately good. They could pop off quite easily. And I think you could see the legs like in the back of the cab, right? I'm pretty sure you could. But again, this is better than the leader, which we'll get to, but it still looks a bit weird. It almost, in robot mode, do you think, Big D, it looks a little bit like a knockoff? Because of how the shoulders... There's something about the shoulders that makes it look knockoff.
They do lend it a bit of energy, don't they?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. Is it the silver that they've used?
I think it might be, because it feels... If it was just maybe a tad darker, that might have helped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something off about it, though.
And the truck mode feels more like maybe a racing truck rather than a proper. But that's mainly because of the size, how big they've made the back of the cab section. Yeah,
it looks maybe longer than it should be. It's also gappy. Like there's a gap right in the front. There's a gap where the smokestacks are kind of meant to hide it. Like I said, I think behind the cab there are gaps as well.
I don't think they've actually bothered to hide the legs at all from the rear.
I don't think they did. I think there's just a lot of like solid grey plastic back there where you go, it's fine, okay.
Because I think
don't look here.
I think I've got for Revenge of the Fallen or one of the later versions of this mold, and yeah, it was a bit of a. It didn't look great in alt mode, to be honest.
It's got 8 redos, really? I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not 8, and there's barely any difference between these. Holy shit. Okay, so there was this one. There's also the movie version, which is the same figure with a slightly different paint scheme. It's really not even worth mentioning, really. Obviously, it doesn't have the driver. There's the Sam's Club movie Optimus Prime, which may or may not have, if Big D could do the solid and have a look for that one. It might just be another Optimus Prime. While I talk about the movie First Strike Optimus Prime, what's the difference here? The red is redder, and there's more of it.
I tell you what, that reminds me of. I looked at that alt mode and has me thinking, that's Stacks from GoBots.
I think, to be honest, looking at the vehicle mode, I think it's meant to be G1. I think if it was like red instead of like orange, that like silver stripe going through the center of it is what G1 Optimus Prime had. But it's not right.
Intent, but yeah.
Again, maybe it's the way that the photos came out and it just looks more orange than it should, but that is a very, very orange Optimus Prime, and calling him out to be Stacks is not unfounded, I would say. Otherwise, it's Optimus Prime again, just red. Then there's Screen Battle Movie Optimus Prime, which is Optimus Prime, but a bit more blue in robot mode. Yep. Okie dokie. Then there is Revenge of the Fallen class Optimus Prime, which seems like it's gone for more muted colors, but again, he's also got yellow boobs this time around, so I guess that's something. And the Cybertronian graffiti on his shin. And on the front of his cab mode as well. Otherwise, it's Optimus Prime again. And then there's Revenge of the Fallen Defender Optimus Prime, which looks the same, apart from he has a bit of orange on his shoulders, less red, and then the vehicle mode is primarily grey and blue with a couple of gold fire and silver fire on him. So again, this is the most different, but in robot mode, he again just looks like an Optimus Prime. And the one Big D sent me is just an Optimus Prime.
Yeah, comes in a triple pack with RC and Starscream. I think Prime's got some battle damage work on him.
It looks like it. That's about it. So that's, again, not super interesting. Then there is the Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime Revenge Edition.
I think that might be the one I had. It's one of the 2 Revenge of the Fallen ones, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones that's
technically there's 3, because there's the 2009 one, which is a standard one. There's the one that doesn't have an image, and then there is the Defender one, which was 2010. So it's one of those 3.
Well, I know that it came in a big job lot I bought at a car boot sale, so who knows where
it's just weird to have so many 8 repaints of a figure, and them all of them are pretty much the same. Now, in this day and age, if you're going to get Optimus Primes, we know the standard tactic, which is like a white Optimus Prime, a black Optimus Prime, and a shattered glass purple Optimus Prime, generally speaking. I don't think this is just like milking the titties. This is desperately grabbing for milk from those empty udders, it feels like.
Yeah. I mean, that first strike repaint is probably the most interesting of all of them, just because it's at least doing something different.
Yeah, but it is
and
just
even then it's not
red.
Then it's just a lot of red.
Just a lot of red.
I mean, it'd work if you wanted to use it as a different character in that case. But it's like you say, it's just weird that this one didn't get the Magnus, Nemesis, Shattered Glass, Toxitron.
Yeah, it's not like they didn't do that kind of shit before the movie. I'm guessing they were just banking on kids wouldn't want if kids wanted an Optimus Prime figure. Let's make sure they always have an option for an Optimus Prime figure. Maybe.
I mean, in fairness, this did mean that this they had a movie Optimus Prime available every year for a good 3.5 years, effectively.
Well, they had for just this version of Optimus Prime, he was available for 3 times in that year, and then in 2008 he was available twice, and then in 2009 he was available twice, and then in 2010 he was available. So he was 3 years of this one mold just being drugged through. Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah. At least for Seekers and Sideswipe, you can say that they're different characters.
Yeah, they got repaint. They significantly different colors.
Yeah.
So weird.
It really was.
Yeah. Let's see. Mr. White says, Revenge of the Fallen, Gathering Dust Megatron. I don't know why that tickles me.
Ouch.
Exelhead says, if you were given the Galvatron and the Last Night Megatron designs without the movies outright stating it is Megatron, would you think it's the same robot from the first film? Oh, fuck no, I wouldn't know what the fuck they were. Especially Megatron from Galvatron from the Last Night, where he's fucking Rubik's cubes.
I mean, in fairness though, if you showed anyone any of the Megatron figures without any context, you would have no idea, especially Megatron.
Yeah. The only one that looks significantly like who they should look like is Optimus Prime. No one else really looks like what they should do. Maybe you could say Jazz. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that would be about it. Or Scorponok, and you just say that because he's a scorpion, not because he looks like Scorponok.
Yeah.
Exelhead says, didn't one of the movie comics have Peter Cullen with cowboy hat as Prime's hollow avatar like Blackout? Probably. Probably not even the movie ones.
It was one of the IDW comics.
Yeah, but that would have been one of the movie ones, or would have
not one of the movie ones.
Oh, okay.
One of the
standard ones.
Yeah.
Infiltration or something like that, probably.
Yeah, when they all showed off their hollow avatars, Prime's was clearly Peter Cullen.
Yeah. Mr. White says, if you look under Megatron's feet, you can see a small representation of Frank Welker being stepped on and recast by Bay for no reason. All for an actor who publicly mocked the film. Yeah. To be fair, Hugo Weaving wasn't wrong.
No.
He wasn't wrong. If I remember, Hugo Weaving had no idea what was going on when he was doing his line readings as well, right? Isn't that one of the famous things?
Did any of the voice actors for these movies have the slightest clue what they were being asked to do?
More than likely, they were probably just given the script, money was thrown at them, and then it was shut up, monkey, read the line, and then go. I would guess.
Yeah,
something to that
Hugo
effect.
Weaving was just stunt casting, and it did neither him nor the character any favors because Weaving can do better. We've seen him do better.
He's Elrond,
and he's done better in worse movies.
Yeah,
much worse movies.
To be fair, he doesn't even say that much.
Why would you not get Frank Welker, literally the voice actor in Hollywood?
Because Hugo Weaving is a bigger name. Who's Frank Welker? You don't know. Well, I mean, you know. But general audience man, no idea who Frank Welker is. He's a voice actor.
But that's all money they could have spent on the film.
Yeah, but you don't get it. Hugo Weaving's a big name. People know The Matrix, right? They'll see the man who is Agent Smith, and they'll come to the cinema because they know Agent Smith. And thus will get more money.
With all of his, 10 lines of dialogue?
Yes, it's very important. Hollywood never makes terrible fucking decisions.
Does he break more than double-digit lines of dialogue across the movies?
The movies? Multiple movies? Maybe. Because there's quite a few movies. So maybe, otherwise no.
But the ones that Weaving directly.
Oh, Weaving?
He
only did 2.
Did
he do 2, 3?
Did he do Dark
2.
of the Moon?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe.
I'm sure Welker did last night.
He definitely did last night because he was Galvatron, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I'll say yes because I don't care.
Yeah,
I'll say yes because I don't give a rat's ass.
I'm putting too much thought into this. I do apologize, everyone.
Next up, we have the leaders. We got Leader Megatron. Oh boy, this thing had gimmicks, and he's ugly as fuck, and he's fat. He's a big old fat who fats. So he transforms. Obviously, he transforms into a thing.
Yeah,
a thing. It doesn't look like anything. It's just a thing. The head's very visible.
I refer to my previous point that he turns into a spaceship, which makes the whole point of him being trapped in ice make even less sense.
Yep. No argument here. He has a whipping attack claw, which is like it's meant to be his mace from the movie. Like his hand attaches from his forearm, and then you've got this really awkward, not very good cable that comes out of one of the back kibble of his like forearm, and that doesn't really work. It's kind of a mess.
He's got a strimmer.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. There's automorph transformation. The automorph is you pull down the little thing in the center of his chest, and you press a button, and it kind of screeches back up, and his nipple plates move a little bit. I think his wings fold in as well when you're transforming him, but that's pretty much it.
That all sounds really unpleasant.
Yes, it's not very nice, and it makes this horrible, like you know, wind-up toys. You know that kind of sound a wind-up toy makes when you release it? That's the sound that Megatron's chest makes when you release the thing and it starts moving. Oh, that's right. And when you pull down his central nipple, if you look and see those translucent claws on the back of his shoulders, they retract as well. So they'll either go up or down depending on where the nipple is.
Okay.
I don't know why, because he didn't have those in the movie, from what I remember.
Yeah.
He's also got lights and sounds. I don't remember what these lights or sounds were, but he did have them. And it doesn't mention it here, but his one arm can make the mace, the other arm can very poorly attempt to make his, you know, when he smushes his hands together to make his quote-unquote fusion cannon, it can kind of try and do something that looks sort of like that.
Oh, dear.
But not very well.
Bless their cotton socks for trying.
Yes, it is not a very good transformation. It is messy. I remember the shoulders do not peg into the chest very well, as you can see. Just kind of the shoulders just kind of clip in there. I don't remember them clipping him desperately well. He's not very poseable. He's very big, and he also has, because he's got so much shit on the underside of the side of his forearms. If you try and have him with elbow bends, which aren't very deep elbow bends, he's obviously just got a load of shit hanging off the bottom of his arms, so it looks weird and awkward. And I don't think he had a head rotation. I don't think his head moved.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there was one to it, does there?
No. If I remember, it unpegs from the chest just so it can facilitate the transformation. But that's about it. This is a pretty horrific, crappy toy. It's one of those ones where it's made specifically for kids that just want something that does things. And you can argue whether those things are successful or not. This is closer to the rollout action animated Optimus Prime with those kind of features than it is a natural transforming toy that transforms well or in an interesting manner.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure this figure was a bit of a shelf warmer locally. I'm sure it was sat on the Toys R Us shelves around about this way for a long ass time.
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, it looks awful. You know, even now, just looking at it, it wasn't a handsome toy back in 2007, and it's really not a handsome figure now.
Yeah,
it's really not. And its paint scheme is just all over the place. Like, for some reason, they have bits of blue on the front of his face, but not all of his face, on the tops of his shoulders, on the tops of his thighs, and on the tops of his feet, and on the sides of his like forearms. And I'm guessing that's to try and make him look either frozen or like maybe frost burn, maybe, or if it's just to break up the silver.
I think so, but then they've gone for a weird creamy white plastic for big chunks of his body instead of making it silver.
No, to be fair, it's not white. It is standard Hasbro grey. It's flat standard. It's mainly flat standard Hasbro grey, and then this blue. If you look at like the forearm specifically, it looks like they've just kind of airbrushed it on, which is why you've almost kind of got like a bleed effect over it as well. I don't understand at all what they were thinking, to be honest. There was a premium edition, so they actually made him look reasonably nice, I suppose, like consistent color wise.
It's more coherent.
Yep. So. It's still not a good mold, obviously, but giving him a consistent color scheme that he should look like and that he looked like in the movie helps a little, at the very least.
I will give them credit. They've gotten a nice effect on the wings where it's got that chrome bleeding into like a corrosion effect. That kind of works. That's not a bad little effect they've got there.
It's okay. Yeah.
Gives
not
it
the best, but something.
It gives it a bit of extra texture. And at least the colors, they're more unified. There's more... You know what? This feels much more like what we got in Prime Megatron.
Kind of. I can see where you're coming from there.
You can see how we got from this to Prime.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a crazy step. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
But the mold, obviously, bad. Bad. Very bad.
Very, very bad.
Now...
That sucks to say, because it's Megatron, and two toys that are both kind of terrible.
Yeah, so the question is the Optimus Prime leader figure better than the Megatron? Because he's worse than the Voyager, because it's not as fun to play with, but is it better than the Megatron? He is laden with gimmicks as well. So let me read those to you. Actually, he's not. He's got a few. He's got lights and sound. He's got an automo feature, which it doesn't mention, but I can tell you about it. He's got a spring-loaded missile. The spring-loaded missile is his gun is on the side of his forearm, and then there's a slider button which you kind of push forward, and the slider button kind of swings the gun over his fist.
Well, that's kind of cool. At least they tried to replicate how it worked in the film, which...
it's trying to give you the idea that it's transforming out of his arm. But would it be better facilitated to just not have those moving parts and just have him have a gun that just closes over the fist? It's one of those things.
They did this much more elegantly with Bumblebee in the next film's deluxe toy line.
Definitely. So. The Automorph feature is, once again, if you look at the center of his chest, there's that gray bit. You grab that, you pull that down. Some of the cab does something. I can't remember exactly why it either comes together about something. It locks in at the bottom. When you press the button in and it goes back up to the top, Optimus Prime head is revealed from inside of his chest, and it makes lights and sounds. And it's like, ooh, I think he says, "I'm Optimus Prime," or something like that.
Yeah.
This guy had a lot of kibble on the side of his legs, as you can see. There's a lot of wheel there. He also has toe automorphing as well. I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked. I think if the heel is, if you look at the front of the car mode, or the truck mode, I should say, not the grill, but the flat bit beneath the grill that goes from the center all the way to the side. That bit, I think, when you swiveled that to be like horizontal to the flat of the grill, it helped the toes transform. I don't know why that was a feature, but it's like, it's not intrusive.
Fair enough.
No real point to it, but okay, fair enough.
I mean, I'm looking at. I've never really gelled with this figure. It's got a nice looking alt mode, but it's another of those cases where it's just so full of, because they had to scramble the electronics and the automorph into the torso. It's limited what else you can do. Because none of the other movie primes transform quite the same way this one does, do they?
No.
Because the legs all come out of the front of the truck.
It's kind of half and half. Because you get half of it from the front, I think, and then the other half kind of, the back half smushes together underneath, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's just a shame that those legs don't really tidy up anymore, because that...
No.
that's to my mind, that's really what held it back from or I'd never really liked about it is that the legs just feel unfinished.
He's a very cumbersome figure, is probably how I would say it, because he's obviously got these ball-jointed shoulder blue panels as well, which just kind of sit there. He's got a lot of back kibble as well. His head seems almost too big, and I think that's to accommodate the lights. I think that's because his eyes lit up as well, so it's. I think that's probably why that's kind of out of whack as well. He's just a very oversized toy. It feels like he's, like you said, like he's been overinflated with his gimmicks.
I mean, I'd probably looking at him and Megatron, not having owned either. I'd probably say Prime looks like he would have been the better toy.
Yes, I would say that's the case, definitely.
But that's kind of damning with faint praise, I think, because it's still not what I'd call good. No,
certainly not. But you can see where the Automorph in the vehicle mode, how the Automorph kind of works, because you can see the chesters came together, and you can see on the top of the roof that there's like a panel there which clearly flips back and Prime's head pops out from. The back of the truck mode, the gun, obviously because the hand, it's stuck to the hand, it just kind of awkwardly plops into the back, and his smokestacks are on bendy plastic bits as well. So it looks a little ugly. In terms of redos, let's scroll down. Oh my god, fucking Optimus Primes. There was a Nightwatch Optimus Prime, which I don't know what the difference is, because I'm sure it's similar to the Nightwatch Optimus Prime for the Allspark power. It's different?
Well, no, sorry. I thought you were going to say you don't know what's different from the other one, but no, it is pretty much your Spark Power one.
Yeah, I'm imagining it's mildly different, but not massively different. So this one is just, instead of him being red, he's blue. I like the vehicle mode. I like the the black fading into the blue with the silver stripes. That's quite nice, but I don't think the robot mode is desperately interesting.
No, I mean, it's a deco I'd actually like to see them try again on another movie version Prime, to be fair.
It's almost Scourge. Almost.
Yeah, it's got a bit of that to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just it went more blue than what they usually do.
What's the Diaclone Blue Prime called? Battle Convoy?
The other ones we have, the movie ones we have are Movie Optimus Prime, Nightwatch Optimus Prime, Allspark Power Nightwatch Optimus Prime, which is the one we looked at, Premium Series Optimus Prime, and then the one from Japan. How do I know it's from Japan, Big D? Let me read you its name. Movie MA-21 Optimus Prime Battle Mode. Just guessing.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing if there was a Diaclone version, it's probably MA-21.
No, I mean, because there's been a Diaclone Prime that they did that repaint of Classics Prime for a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I was just thinking this color scheme might work as a variant on that potentially.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Sorry, that's just me spitballing.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no, maybe. So that's the end of this line. The movie stuff is done.
I've got a picture for premium.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? It's probably really cool, right? Really cool. Oh wow. Oh well, that's something interesting. Technically, he's a remold, isn't he?
A better one, yeah.
Because they have changed his gun out for a knife. It's not really a sword, but it is a knife. So it's a little different. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the grey plastic is not grey. I'm assuming that has been painted silver. And apart from that, he looks pretty much the same because it's Optimus Prime in it. So
yeah.
Mildly, I guess the biggest thing is, do you want him with one blade or one gun? And I guess he used his sword more than his gun, I think, in the movie. Neither here nor there. Shall we talk about the real winner of the movie lines, the real gear, the gear that was indeed real, even though that you've never had any of these?
Go on. I'm actually really interested to hear this because as I was saying before we came on air, I've never actually owned any of the Real Gear stuff. It wasn't a class I really had any interest in back in the day.
Mm.
And over the years, as people have told me stuff, I've kind of regretted that because they sound like being just good fun.
They're neat. They remind you, at least reminded me of the idea of what Perceptor and Megatron and Soundwave were originally, which were like real life things. Now, some of them are not as good as other ones. We're not going in order, but let me tell you, when we get to the Laserbeak's the worst one. Outright. We're starting with Zoom Out 25X, everyone's favorite robot. He is a digital camera. Despite what it looks like, it is meant to be a digital camera. If you look at the single image of the camera mode, you can see that there's this big flat bit that has a cut down the center of it. That is a flip out screen. So the screens that you'd flip up from the camera and then turn around, and it would have they'd have a little sticker on the inside there. So that's what that is. It's quite okay. I don't remember this one being as good as some of the other ones, but the screen on the back, because it splits open, gives him a little bit of a cape. He was a little bit on the shoulders were obviously a little bit, if you check out the robot mode, a little bit too close together. To have them a bit spread further apart would have been better. But I did like the head design, though looking at it now, it makes me think of a servitor from Warhammer with the big eye.
He does have a little bit of energy going on, doesn't he?
Yeah. Shoulder joints were... they were okay. He didn't really have... Well, we'll get to that later. The way that he moves his arms up and down are the arms were attached to the grey bits, and they would kind of just swivel around and around, so he did have full rotation. But then if you wanted his arms to move outwards, they're on a hinge joint, so they move underneath the shoulder. So, oddly enough, his shoulder outwards joint was on his bicep, which was a bit on the awkward side, obvious reasons. I think visually I like this guy's head more so than most, but the actual robot, not great. This was not one of the big winners.
How to say? I do like that at least he's got ball jointed elbows. That's nice.
Yeah.
That helps mitigate for the way his shoulder joint is set up in the bicep. So,
but obviously, because of where the shoulders are, it just means the way that those arms always look is a bit on the weird side, no matter what you do with them. But you're right. XL Hedge says you were thinking of Powered Convoy, aka Ultra Magnus.
That was it. Yeah.
There you go. So we have one that I really liked, High Score 100. The Xbox controller, the PlayStation controller. The issue with this one, at least for its gamer mode, was it was quite gappy. But that was about it. The sticks for the game sticks actually moved a little bit. There wasn't a huge amount of movement, but there was a little bit of movement. The buttons didn't really work though, for obvious reasons, because there was no real. You can't really put buttons on a thing this squished. Really,
but he's got his robot mode is hell of a hench throw. That's a beefy dude.
He obviously has three things that draw him down. He literally has gorilla arms because he's clearly gorilla-ish in style. The feet look weird. They're hollow. They're facing upwards hollow, which doesn't look great. And what was the other thing? The weight, he's got a very, very, very tiny waist. Otherwise, he's quite fun. Obviously, decent amount of articulation. It looks interesting. I really like the head sculpt because he's got this long, very, very thin mono visor on his face as well.
Yeah. I kind of dig the color scheme as well.
It's not a bad color scheme. Yeah.
It just works. Yeah.
I don't like his Autobot insignia placement. It is a reverse tramp stamp. It's on his dong. So that's a bit on the weird side. Transforms again reasonably well, and like I say, is pretty decent little controller. Did he get a repaint? He did get a repaint into Movie Twitcher F451, where they turned him green. Do you like the green one? Green. Yeah, or do you like the other one? I think the other one looks better.
I think the other one's more interesting, but this is still a fun repaint.
Oh, but at this angle, it does remind me that if you look at his chest, you can see that it swings up to these hard, like, big pins, right? I don't think the plastic enclosed all the way around those pins, so you could knock them off. I think it was designed that way so they wouldn't break, because they were meant to swing and like add the shoulder buttons to the top of the joypad. But I remember mine popped off not super easily, but a little easier than I'd like them to, personally.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the sort of thing that would have been designed to do that.
Yeah.
Fair. So.
XL Head says, Andy, that's clearly a Mad Catz controller. I could see that.
Yeah.
The one that gives you, quote unquote, friend, no likes. The one you give to the friend. Oh, the one you give to the friend, no one likes. Ah, yes, this pad's been given to me specifically before in the past.
Yeah, for one where the turbo button don't work and the
it works.
It is very finicky.
It quote unquote works, and it does, but it doesn't work. Yeah, I'd say the original one was better. Speed dial, shockingly, was a phone. I was going to say based on a Nokia, but he's a lot thinner than a Nokia. He's one of those old-fangled phones, if you technically think about it in this day and age, which is kind of sad. He's reasonably fun. He's reasonably simple. He works like a phone. Yeah. His issue is he had like the entire screen, quote unquote, the flip up part that had the screen on is just a big old cape that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems like the biggest knock, because otherwise they have actually given him they've detailed all the interior bits that you'd have on this type of phone.
Yeah.
Once you screen it, that's actually kind of nifty from just from an accuracy point of view,
and everything tidies up really nicely. Like if you look at the arms effectively just go inside of where the little blue bits are for his nipples. They just fold up and tuck in there, because if you look at the phone, where the volume key is, that's basically his forearms on each side. So they just nicely tuck up and squish in there, and then the legs obviously just kind of fold upwards.
Yeah, that is really clean. I do like that.
It's the only issue is the big old back cape, which doesn't do anything. It almost feels like wasted plastic, because it doesn't turn into a gun. It doesn't spread out to be wings. It just doesn't do anything.
That they didn't do anything with that, because that is a lot of plastic to be wasting.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's just budget. They didn't have enough budget to make it do anything else. But I do like the fact that he has a giant camera mono eye, but then he has a mouth, which is kind of unusual. Nose. Yes, that's very unusual.
And he's got a slight smirk on his face as well, which is
a little sinister.
Yeah.
It would be like for those at home, it would be like if you get Shockwave's head and then underneath it you put a nose and a mouth. Yeah. It would look really weird. And this looks odd. It gives him a unique look though, so that's kind of
hell
cool.
Yeah.
Again, slightly sinister. Oh shit, what was he called? What's his name, because I clicked off him? Speed Dial.
Oh, Speed Dial. Yeah.
Is that his name? Speed
Dial 800.
Yes, because this guy did get repainted, and I forgot to talk about them. One of them's good, and one of them's shit. The one that I'd say is good is Wiretap V20, where they've changed him into a black phone with red highlights. I think this one's nice. Obviously, black and red are reasonably good together.
He's given off big rumble energy here.
Kind of, yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
And then the other one is, what if we made the phone just red? And to me, this one's, again, less interesting.
I mean, the colors are nice and crisp. It's just, why would you make a phone red?
I have to imagine that there were phones like this, though, when this style of phone was around. I mean, it is just boring, but I think it's probably a thing, right?
First time I ever heard of something all in red being called boring. But yeah. No, it doesn't have the same pizzazz as Wiretap.
No.
To be honest.
And I think speed dial works because it's like the generic phone, so it kind of works in the terms of like this is what a phone would look like. So more
speed
accurate.
Dial's the actual model. Wiretap is for deeply sinister. I'm glossy black and I've got all my red bits hidden away, and I'm gonna mess you up, Autobot. And then this dude's like, well, we wanted someone to just be completely red instead.
Yeah. Let me break down the family dynamic. Speed dial is your dad's phone. Wiretap is you as an emo with your phone being cool. Yeah. And our Highline 1070 is the one that you give to your baby sister, and it's not a real phone.
Yeah.
That's how I would base these. But no, he's decent. He's one that I definitely would say pick up because he's fun. One that I wish was better and like aspects of is Power Up VT6, the gaming console. So one bad aspect is his chest does nothing, so he will forever have Galaxy Force Jetfire shooting at you effectively. I like that. I think that's a fun image on the front. I don't like his legs. His legs are reverse hollowed. Usually the hollow bits would be backwards, so you'd only see them from the back.
Yeah.
He's a hollow on the front, which is a little bit disappointing. And he's got incredibly weedy arms. Very, very weedy arms, like he does no gym day at all. Because I guess he's a gamer.
His biceps just aren't there.
They're not. He has okay articulation, like for the arms, because he's got ball-jointed elbow and his arm spins around, and same for the waist and all that jazz. I do like the head sculpt, though. The head sculpt makes me think of like Clench a little bit, like that kind of era. He's got that kind of era going on for him.
Here's a question. You said about his legs, and I don't suppose they rotate the other way around?
They do, but there's no detail on them, and they're just flat.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Like, this is, you've got the green bit of paint on the front, so it looks like, this is his foot. If you turn that around, it's just the side pieces of the game console. I think this guy's best mode is the game console, because if you look at it, it's decent. The buttons have a little bit of play to them, and I'm pretty sure the D-pad also has a little bit of play to it as well, like it has a little bit of movement.
See, I like that you're saying they did that, because that's not something they needed to do.
No.
But just to give you that little bit of extra tactile sensation to carry on the illusion.
I think that's why the legs aren't great, though. Yeah. Because you can see, like, where the front of the foot is, and then you see, like, where the button thing is. So I'm guessing that feature took up the leg and made it why it is the way it is. The bad thing about the game console mode is you can see the head.
Yeah, sadly.
He's just tucking his head down like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. If you wanted to complain, the gray plastic for some reason on the forearms is painted. I don't know why it wasn't just in the same color as the rest of it, but clearly you can tell that that's painted grayish. And on the inside, it's black. It seems a tad redundant, but
odd.
Yeah,
very.
Yeah, he's fun enough, but there's just elements to him where you look at him and you're like, I wish you were better. I never had Hacker X3 though. What's the image on him? I don't know. That one's not as. This isn't as cool. The image on this guy does not look like a video game. It looks like a still from the movie. It's not a still from the movie, but it doesn't have like the hood of a video game on it. I can
tell you what that is. That's from one of the promo images for the video game they put out. Because I remember seeing that image in all the bloody magazines.
Is it? Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess that's what they were going for. But I think the other one's better because it had the hood on it and it made it look like a real game. Oddly enough, the way they've painted it, his face looks weird now.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, the top looks like he's got a nose and then he's got this really soft mouth. It almost looks like he's got bug eyes as well. The colors aren't terrible on him. And I think I'll say that the game console mode, apart from the screen sticker, I think I like more. I like that they've got the kind of silver around the buttons, and the kind of blackish grayish plastic is consistent, so it kind of looks a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
But then you've got the shitty image on the center, which I guess you could fix if you printed out an image of a video game and just stuck it on the front of it, if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah. Which do you prefer out of the two of these? Do you prefer like the original one, or do you prefer Hacker X3?
I think I prefer Hacker's overall deco, but the spots of I prefer the face paint job on Power Up.
Okay.
So I'll go Power Up because it's just more interesting overall.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Next we got Longview. One I remember finding kind of boring in terms of how he transformed, even though I don't think he is boring like now. Maybe I just didn't like him because he was a pair of binoculars, and binoculars aren't as cool as a game console, you know?
Yeah, I mean, in the late 2000s, that tracks.
Yeah, I'll say he has a good silhouette, a decent head sculpt, not the best head sculpt. And he does turn into reasonably okay binoculars. And in terms of repaints, he had a blue version, which is less interesting than the yellow version.
Yeah, I think I do prefer that yellow version, to be honest. That blue one is just kind of a bit meh.
Yeah, it looks cheaper, I think. Something about it doesn't look as nice. His feet are kind of interesting. Well, a little bit interesting, just because they fold up and click into place. And if I remember, I'm trying to remember, I think his chest, that yellow on the chest, flips up and goes all the way onto his back for his transformation, if you get what I'm saying.
I think, yeah, looking at it, that makes sense. Yeah.
So if you take the chest and as you rotate the chest up and above where his head is, his head kind of tucks inside the body, and then the chest piece lands on the back, which is, again, kind of interesting. So this is why I said, in my mind, I remember his transformation being kind of boring, but that's probably a more interesting part of the transformation. So I think it's a more internal brain thing. And I think proportionally, this might be one of the better ones that we've looked at.
He does have some nice proportions. And you know what? Even with his arms, where the covers of the lenses, where they stick up as his shoulders, that works though for his silhouette. He's got quite a broad, balanced image.
Yeah. And
the way the head sculpt, we've gone for more of an armored helmet look. It just all comes together, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it has like a Armada Megatron kind of vibe, but like the shoulder spikes work a little bit better because I think just because like his chest is broader, like he's wider, so the big pylons right next to his head, I don't think are as egregious design wise as they are for Armada Megatron, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excel Hedge says, "Is that Cybertron Jetfire? That was for the video game console. If you're talking about head design for Longfinder, no, the head doesn't look like Jetfire. When you look at the close-up version, it's again. I wish the head was a bit more interesting, but it's not. I think that's why I wish I'd like. I don't know what they could have done color-wise to it. Maybe you could have done it in like army camo, like proper army camo, and it could be like for a hunter that's going into the forest to hunt deer.
That could have worked. But
maybe
this is a very classic. It's basically Bumblebee's colors.
Yeah.
In fact, it's G1 Bumblebee's colors down to a T. The black arms, the yellow torso, yellow legs, and yeah, it's more Bumblebee than Bumblebee from the movie line, to be honest.
Next up, we have the one that I say is the worst one, which is Booster X10. Some people would say, is it because he's a parts former? I'd say no. It's because he's just uninteresting. He transforms to what I would expect a Studio Series figure to transform. He just kind of unfolds. The best way to describe it is you kind of tuck the legs up into his body, and then you grab his wings and then push them forward, and it just kind of closes around. Then his tail just kind of tucks underneath, and that's it. He doesn't do much.
Is that arguably a better laser beak than we've had in the main line for like nearly 20 years at this
Well,
point.
well,
In some ways.
yeah, in some ways, he does have like a joint on the inside of his wings as well, so he can awkwardly flap his wings.
Yeah.
So there is that to it, and the legs are mildly posable. The thing I don't like is I don't like the earpiece because obviously it didn't fit my ear. I like the idea that it's a gigantic gun that you just kind of attach to the back of Laserbeak. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, that gives you that basic Laserbeak look with the cannon. Even if it's not a double, at least it's a cannon on his back, which is not a given in modern Laserbeaks, to be honest.
True.
So
I think I say it's the worst just because its transformation is so quick. It could have almost been like an Automorph fast action battler kind of figure. Its MP3 iPod player mode is okay. It looks like one, apart from the screen is translucent. You can see Laserbeak's underside of his neck and then like the wings folded up a bit, but otherwise it's fine. There was a blue version called Night Beat. I'd say this is a worse colored version because it's kind of baby blue, grayish baby blue, and then silver. So like black and translucent orange and red are much more interesting colors, I think, and pop more.
It probably looks more like an actual MP3 player in its alt mode, and
that's true. Yeah,
and the choice of colors works better with the screen. Although you can still see bits of the bot mode inside, it's not quite as egregious as with T'other One.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's just not as exciting though as the Laserbeak, even if it's a more original color scheme for a character with this.
I think red and orange and black pop more than blue and silver.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying it just because it's Laserbeak, which it clearly is just Laserbeak. It's not the nostalgia. It's my biases of liking red and black together.
I get that.
That's my bias.
Absolutely. I'd agree. The other one just pops more. This just doesn't as much. So
Axel Hedge says, "Why do I get Silverhawks vibes from this bird?" Not the Laserbeak, but I would 100% agree with like Nightbeat. Probably because of the silver around the bird head. That does give a bit of a Silverhawky vibe. So, like I say, this isn't my favorite one, but it's still fun. It's a basic transformation, but it's neat. We got let's check the the next one might be my favorite. Spy Shot.
Okay.
Because he's got a bit of a asymmetrical design. He's a digital camera. He looks he's a bit of a weird looking dude as well. You know, he looks a bit strange. The top of so if you look at the left side of his body, it's his right side, but let's just say left side for easiness sake. His left hip and his left shoulder, you grab those bits and you pull them towards each other in the center of the body, and you do it for the other side as well to help the transformation.
Okay.
Which is again kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
His left side, the right side of the picture is obviously the flash of the camera, while his on right arm, left for our side, is the top of the camera. So he's a kind of weird asymmetrical design, as I say. In camera mode, he's obviously a bit on the gappy side, but still looks like a camera. I can't remember if the button works. I can't remember if it's a clicky button. It might be, but don't hold me to that. He's got a weird head. Like the head, strangely enough, I think looks a bit like Headmaster from Animated.
Yes.
Just add the little horns on the side, and it has a little bit of that vibe going. This is the one I'd probably say try and get if you can, because I remember it being fun. Or I'd say get the repaint, because the repaint looks better because it's in black and gold, and it's Photon T34. I think this one looks better. What do you agree, Big D?
I think I'd agree. Mainly, I think because the head is much nicer. It's got a lot nicer paint job.
Yeah, it does. It actually looks like he's wearing glasses as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, Spy Shot's paint job feels a little messy and a little like he's kind of a bit nuts.
Yes. True.
Whereas
Photon T-34.
He looks much more sinister, much more calculating, and that's purely because of the fact that his head is just much more cleanly painted, which is weird.
What was the horror movie, thriller movie with Robin Williams in, where he was the photo guy?
1 hour photo.
1 hour photo. I don't know why, but looking at the head gives me a 1 hour photo vibe. It's probably because he's a camera as well. That's a great movie as well. Super good film. It's got Neon Genesis Evangelion in it as well, which is so fucking weird.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Especially when the child wants to buy a slide. Why are you watching this, you fucking weirdo? You're like 12.
Williams had this weird, 12-month period where you played two psychos in two very different films.
What was the other one? Because 1 hour photo, obviously. What was the other one?
Insomnia. One of Christopher Nolan's
God.
films.
I forgot about Insomnia.
Yeah.
Oh, was Insomnia good? I can't really remember it. Might need to rewatch that. Yeah, I'll try and remember to. I'll try and rewatch that because I can't remember anything about it. But yes, if there was one, I'd say get first, or like, I'd say this one's the more interesting one, and clearly, obviously, Photon T-34 is the better version of this this character. And a little interesting thing for those who's not looking at home, the color scheme is effectively Cannonball's color scheme, but without the tampographs.
Very true. Yeah,
it's that color scheme. So I'd recommend this one. Then you got Meantime. Meantime's he's not a comfortable watch. He's not a comfortable watch. Also, when you have him in watch mode, the clock, I don't remember if the clock face turns. If it doesn't, it's always in the wrong position.
Oops.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
I don't remember, though. Meantime, hang on, does it move? No, I'm not sure. I don't think it does. Meantime has a weird gangly look to him. I like his head design, though he does have two nipples on the side of his head, which you could, if you were grabbing him from behind, you could use as a good kind of mounting device, I suppose, for yourself. But proportionally, he's a bit on the weird side. For some reason, the inside of his arms are, like his biceps are hollow. Not quite sure why. They don't need to be. On the inside of the forearms, sure, that's where the hands fold in. But the biceps, I don't know.
Weird.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's to facilitate the strap look, because obviously his arms and legs are meant to be straps. Yeah. Meantime's another weird one.
I mean, points for novelty value there, because they could have just done what the old Game & Watches used to do back in the day, and just be literally just for watch pieces Transformer.
That would definitely have been easier. Or they could have done it where the straps were like weapons, which would have also been a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah, but to have the strap, him actually form the straps, that's a weird and really uncomfortable thing for him to try and do. So props for trying it. Did it succeed? Probably not, but
yeah.
He's a weird looking dude, and
it
all fits. It
would like go around a child's wrist. If you notice on his feet, he does have something that looks like like a cyst, and then a gigantic hole in the other foot. So they can peg together. So it would hold as a proper watch around your wrist, which again, not an adult wrist unless you have a very delicate wrist. But again, interesting. And then you have movie Midnighter X, I don't know why I'm saying the first word first, XR4, which I think, again, color-wise, looks better. Again, more consistent, more like a normal watch. The other one was, like bluish, purpley, but dark gray, while this one is just gray, like a sports watch.
More like he's actually in disguise, whereas Tough One feels like he's
more of a toy, I guess, right?
He's gotten the idea, but then hasn't followed through on the execution.
They actually do have a different time on them as well. I was just interested. One's 17 minutes past 5. I assume we're using 24-hour clocks. I'm not sure.
Times. They're in different setups for the layout. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think the clock mode again on the newer one looks a bit cleaner as well, I think.
Yeah, looks more like a classic LCD screen as well.
Yeah. So again,
This
this
one
one.
looks more like he's got the old end glow feature going on, but it's on
Oh
all the time.
yes. Yeah, maybe it's like screen burnt kind of deal.
Hmm.
Yeah. So are there any of these like real gears that you think you'd really like to pick up? Of the ones we've looked at?
I won't lie. Photon T34 is kind of fun. This dude in this particular color scheme is kind of tempting.
Midnighter XR4.
The binocular dude, was it Longview?
Longview, I think it is.
Longview. He's fun. So I could, if I saw any one of those three doing the rounds, I might be tempted to grab one of those three.
Okay.
So,
I'd say
if I saw any of the others on a stand at a boot sale or a show, I'd probably have a mess around with them, and for the right price.
Yeah, I definitely say don't like pass on the mobile phone dude. Like he's very simple, but again, just tidy. He's very, very tidy. Apart from his, bit hanging off the back of his head, obviously.
Yeah.
Apart from that. But that's it. That's all of the figures. That's 2007 done and dusted. That means technically a more ambitious line is next, for better and for worse.
Yes.
Revenge of the Fallen is next, which spawns some really interesting things, and as George obviously mentioned, some fucking horrific things as well. So we got that to look forward to.
Including two figures I have here, and I have never tried to change them out of their vehicle mode since I transformed them, because I just
which ones? Mixmaster?
No.
Not Mixmaster. Which ones?
I have lead class Prime and Jetfire.
Oh, surely, sir. Surely you jest and you mean Masterpiece Optimus Prime.
I mean, I can understand why they thought they could get away with doing that, because good God, is that thing over-engineered?
Oh yeah, as for a mainline. I mean, we'll talk about it, but yeah, for a mainline toy, it's like compare that Optimus Prime to the Prime that we just looked at tonight.
And the thing I should point out is that it's not being made in a bug. I didn't have instructions for either of these, so I got them from a boot sale.
That's
this is
rough.
part of that big lot I bought.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not a figure you wanted to on your own.
It was a cracking deal, but good God.
Thankfully, YouTube videos of like transformation guides exist these days.
Yeah, this was like 2008, so.
Oh yeah, that's why I say these days. So you could do it now.
Right,
yeah. Back then, it would have been really rough.
Yeah.
You might have had a few, but not many, and they would have been on like 480p.
I think in the end, I had to try and find a copy of the instructions off Hasbro's website to download.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But that will wrap up the show, Big D. Where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
Oh, I am everywhere as David Kelly in some form or other, either with this charming visage or a picture of Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I contribute to UKAnime.net from time to time. Mr. Gruff has me as his regular sidekick on the Deeper Dive show for the Fluff and Hammer, which I greatly enjoy doing. And
why does it sound like you got a gun to the side of your head when you said that? Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah,
I don't know what you mean.
Please let everyone else go.
With Mr. White, we co-host together our Fluff and Buster show, where we natter over a film. We've actually got just done two. I did one with Mr. White, where we did a Conan the Barbarian, the Arnie one.
Oh, not the cartoon, Warrior Without Fear.
No. You know what? I learned this week that we were very close to getting a Conan the Barbarian animated film based on the Red Nails story by Robert E. Howard. Had Ron Perlman voicing Conan.
I don't know any of the Conan stuff, but I think animated is probably better than what we'd get otherwise in this day and age, to be honest. But that could have been interesting potentially.
Yeah, they had all the voice stuff recorded apparently, but it just never went forward. Yeah. And with Mr. Gruff, we did Event Horizon recently.
Ooh.
Yeah. I also do our monthly watch-along show. Well, not a show. I stream a couple of movies that we roll randomly. This month's coming up this weekend is going to be a real weird one.
What is it?
We have Asterix Mansion of the Gods.
Oh, is that the CGI one?
I think it's one of the CGI ones, yeah.
When was it made? It's recent, right?
It's one of the more recent ones. I think it's like 2010s at some point. And Soldier, another Paul Anderson joint.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is an odd little film, but not as bad as his reputation suggests. Just a bit ambitious for what it was.
Okay.
So yeah, that's this Saturday at 7 p.m. over in the Discord on Flufferhammer.
Okie dokie. Well, you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy. On Flesh of a Human Being, playing games and all that jazz. Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. I think that's all that stuff. Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. Again, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all of those places as well. ccbunker.weebly.com. And yeah, just put in Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. You'll probably find us. You'll probably get me if you like. We'll be here next week at 9:30 in the evening. Sunday UK time. If you want to join us live, like the cool people in chat at the moment. Thank you everybody for joining us live wise, and obviously people who are watching after the fact. Thank you as well.
Yeah. Cheers, folks.
Will there be news next week? That's a great question. I don't have the answer though. I really don't. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe there will be. Until then, thank you, Big D, again.
No worries. Always a pleasure.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you next time for Moon Poop 2. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.